Hello, Deanna here, and thanks so much for being here. So it's about that time of year. It is halfway through the year. I am filming this on the first day of summer, which is just like wonderful. So I thought I would go ahead and film the tag I saw going around YouTube, which is the mid-year freakout tag. So I have the questions. I'm going to post them down in the description if you want to go ahead and play along, or if you're interested in answering these and creating your own video, go ahead. But here is my mid-year freakout tag for 2022. So question number 1, what is the best book that you've read so far this year? And I have to give it up to 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I absolutely loved this book, and I still think about this book. I still think about how I want to get my hands on a physical copy. I listened to it by audiobook earlier this year, and it still left its mark on me, and I want a physical copy of this book. So that is on my to be bought pile of getting my hands on a physical copy of this book. The second question, best sequel read so far this year. And I'm gonna give it up to The Wicked King by Holly Black. I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was really interesting, especially how it was left in The Cruel Prince and kind of what was going on with Prince Cardan and Jude and everything. And I recently finished The Wicked King, and it is just to that Cruel Prince, and it's like got me in its clutches. I need to get the next book, The Queen of Nothing, because I need to know what's going on with Cardan and Jude and all of them. So I have to get back into this world, and that is also on my to be bought list. I need to get the next one in this book because I need to know how it goes, what's going on. So this one was awesome. I really enjoyed this sequel. Number 3, a new release that you want to read but just haven't yet. And for me, I really have no idea. I don't keep up too much on what's new coming out or what are the new releases. Like, I'm still reading some books from like years ago. And I mean, I'm literally just finally reading The Cruel Prince and some other series that have been kicking around for quite a while. So I'm not all up on what's really new released or anything like that. So I don't really know. I read what sounds cool and what sounds interesting and what I stumble upon. Having said that though, I do follow Alexa Dunn here on YouTube. She is an AuthorTube creator here on YouTube, and she has released a few books, and I really enjoyed the last one, The Ivies, and I know she has a new book coming out soon. I think it's this summer, and it is Pretty Dead Queens. So I do want to check out Pretty Dead Queens. Does that count as a new release, even though it hasn't really released yet, but it's going to very soon? I think that's probably the one that I want to read as one that's a new release. Now that leads me into question number 4, which is the most anticipated release for the second half of this year. And that, everybody, is the final installment of the Nora Roberts, I believe it's the Dragon Legacy series. My mother-in-law lent me the first 2, which was, I believe, The Awakening and The Becoming. So I read The Awakening, which is the first one, and The Becoming, which is the second. She's already taken back her books because they're amazing books, and we are both anticipating the release of the next one, the final one, which is The Choice by Nora Roberts. I am so waiting for that one. I want to finish the series, find out what happens with all of those characters and the wonderful world that you travel to, and I want to see how it all ends. So that one is not just me waiting for it, but my mother-in-law, and we want to get our hands on it and read it. So we are waiting for that, and I think that's coming out in November of 2022, which is my birthday month, so maybe it'll be a nice little happy birthday to myself to get that book. Number 5. What has been the biggest disappointment that you've read so far this year? And that's a hard one because I don't know if I've been really disappointed in anything, but I will say Sarah J. Maas, The Crescent City, The House of Earth and Blood. That's as far as I've got so far. I've had this book for a while now, and I'm just having a really hard time getting through it. So I want to say it's kind of a disappointment, but I didn't really know what to expect with Sarah J. Maas. I've heard so many big things about her books and all of that, and what I've heard about the second book, I think it's Sky or something, Earth of Sky. I don't know. I'll put it on the screen. I can't remember what it's called. But I've heard so many bad things about that one that it makes me hesitant. And I think it's just what's making me drag through this. And that's a big book. That's a huge book. And so it's just been really hard to get through this one. And I think that's my biggest disappointment because I love fantasies and I love stories kind of like this. I loved the Cassandra Clare series and all of that, and I thought this would be very similar to that, and it's been taking me a bit to get through it. So hopefully I can get back to it at some point and finally finish it and get this out of my list because I don't want to DNF it. I really am hoping not to, but so far I haven't finished it. It's been sitting on my shelf, not being read. Number 6. What has been the biggest surprise book that I have read so far this year? And I have to give that one up. It's probably going to pop up a few more times on this list, but to the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I'm sorry, it's the best book that I read this year, and it's also the most surprising. I had no idea what it was going into it. I had no idea what to really expect. I kind of was like, okay, why is it such this great book? Someone had said you have to read it, and so I did, and it broke me, and I just wasn't expecting where it went. So it was definitely my biggest surprise of this year, and that was a beautiful surprise, and I've loved it. So it's one of my favorite books now. Number 7. Who is my favorite new author? And that could either be a debut author or an author that is new to me. I'm, again, like I said in my previous answer, don't really keep up on who's who and what's what and what's being released. I'm sometimes late to the party. And so I kind of was sleeping a bit on Victoria Schwab and V.E. Schwab. I hadn't read anything from her until I read this at the end of last year, and then I've read a few more of her. She's now one of my favorite, and I love her too, not just for her writing, but I follow her on Facebook, I believe it is, and I see her sometimes posting her stories, and she just seems like a wonderful, dedicated author who just has such an incredible story and such an incredible journey, and I really just want to follow her through it. So I really do enjoy the books that I've read of hers, and I want to get to some of those big ones. I haven't even read the Tale of Addie LaRue, or I know it's a different title than that, but the Addie LaRue one, and Vicious and Victorious and all of that. Victorious? I think Victorious is a Nickelodeon show. But I know there's a few of those stories that are out there, and I want to go ahead and read those because I did enjoy this book. I have reviews on it. I definitely enjoyed the first one of The Dark Vault, 5 out of 5. And I did enjoy some of the other ones that I've read of hers, like The Near Witch and the City of Bones series and stuff like that. So I'm absolutely loving reading anything that I get of hers. I will give honorable mention to Alexa Dunn because I have also been reading her recently, and I've loved the 2 books that I've read of hers, Brightly Burning and The Ivies, and like I said, I'm waiting for her next one, so she's also an honorary mention of a new favorite author. Question number 8. Newest fictional crush. That one was a bit hard for me because I don't really know how much I like walk away from books being like, oh, I'm so crushing on that person. Like maybe back when I was a teenager I did that. Don't really do that as much now as an adult, especially since some of the books I read, like The Cruel Prince, to fall in love with any of them or to like crush on them would be really weird because they're so young. It would just, nope. So I don't really tend to walk away being like, but having said that, I really do love Evelyn Hugo. Like, just fell in love with her. Like, absolutely love her. Crush it. Oh. And I do really love Gifford or G from My Lady Jane. So Gifford or G is the husband of Lady Jane Grey, and I really liked him. I really took to him. I thought he was endearing. Sometimes he could be a little stubborn and some things going on and a little shady here and there, but at the end of the day, he really was loyal to his wife. He really stood beside her, and I absolutely loved him for it. So I will give it up to G as well from My Lady Jane. And speaking of My Lady Jane, the next one, number 9, is who is my newest favorite character of the year, and that would be My Lady Jane, or Jane Grey. Lady Jane Grey from My Lady Jane. I related so much to her. I just really fell in love with who she is, the fact that like I could see some of myself in her, the fact she just is a big avid reader, she loves books, she'd rather hang out with books than people, but she also is very compassionate and very caring, very brave and daring. Like, she has some amazing qualities, and she has some crazy things thrown at her, and she tries her best to get through it all. And so I will say one of my new favorite characters is Lady Jane Grey from My Lady Jane. And then another favorite I have from another series that I was sleeping on, I've recently gotten into the Percy Jackson series, and in Percy Jackson, he has a best friend, Grover. I absolutely love Grover. Like, he is such a sweetheart. Oh, I was so endeared to Grover. And just, I mean, Percy's cool as well, but Grover wormed his way into my heart. So I love Grover, and I'm on the 2nd book, and I really just want more of Grover. Want more Grover in the Sea of Monsters. So hopefully we can get to Grover soon, because I love him. And then, of course, having just said that she was my crush, my other new favorite character that is just really sitting with me is Evelyn Hugo. Number 10, what is a book that made me cry? And I honestly, this whole, might as well just be called the Evelyn Hugo show, because The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, again, it's one of the best books I've read this year. It's one of the most surprising. It's got one of my most favorite characters, and it brought me to my knees. Like, I was not just like a little tear. My heart was shattered. I was sobbing. I felt like I had truly lost someone that I really loved when I read that book. So that book, hands down, it broke me. It destroyed me. I was listening to it on audiobook, and I had to just fall down here on the couch and just be like, oh my God, what did I just listen to? And I just broke and just like sobbed and sobbed. So that book really broke me. And to give another honorary mention, another book that really made me cry was The Rose Code by Kate Quinn. So this one just, I mean, it's a story about World War II and, you know, female spies trying to crack codes of the Nazis. So like this one is real events that really took place in the way some of what happened, the bombings and things like that. So this one, it got me pretty choked up quite a few times. So this one also really made me cry. Number 11, a book that I read this year that has really made me happy. I mean, how do I quantify that to just one book? Like, that is, all of them make me happy. It's why I read them. It's why I love them. But when I sit and I think, okay, which one recently like made me just really enjoy it and really have a good time, I'm gonna give that to our boy, Percy Jackson. Like, I've been having a great time reading this story. I love Greek mythology. I love like just those middle grade type stories and the stories of friendship and stuff going on and the chosen one. So this has been a really delightful read and I'm just having a really good time reading this. So I'm gonna give it up to Percy Jackson, The Lightning Thief. And then I'm already halfway through the second book. After just finishing this one, I rolled right into the Sea of Monsters. I've got the rest of them on my shelf behind me too. So I am enjoying these books. They're a delight. I love them. They make me happy. Question number 12. What is a book that I bought or received this year that is my most beautiful book? They're all my babies. They're all beautiful. But if I really have to give it up to one on that, I bought this book looking at it and being like, I love this. I love the cover art. I think it is so, so pretty. It was Lure by Alexandra Bracken. Absolutely. I mean, I can't even, I'm staring at the viewfinder because it's just like so pretty. Like, look at this. I love like the little O around the eye. I love like the look of it. It's just so aesthetically pleasing to me that I absolutely love it. Plus there's like all these little touches all over this book. Like in the book too, there's like these marbled pages that like are in between the like different parts. Like it's a really pretty book. I like this book so far. And it's one of my hardcovers. I don't buy hardcovers very often because I'm a softcover kind of reader. That's the books that I like reading. But this one is so pretty and I'm glad I have it in hardcover because it is really aesthetically pleasing. I like it. And the final question, number 13. What book or books do I need to read by the end of this year? I have like so many that I've been waiting to read, but I know I have made a commitment that one of the books that I plan to read this summer is The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. So I definitely want to finish this one by the end of this year because my goal is to read it for the summer. Plus, I have plans to read the rest of this series. I mean, I'm already on book 2. I've got all the rest of them. I want to read these books as well. And I want to read, I don't have it right now, but I want to read the sequel to the Cruel Prince series, and I want to read The Queen of Nothing. So those are my hopes for this year, plus the choice if I get it in November and have enough time to read it by the end of the year, plus the one that Alexa Dunn is releasing, The Pretty Dead Queens. Those are my goals by the end of this year. I hope to read them all. So that was all the questions. That was it. That's my mid-year freak out tag. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, give it a like. I would love to see some of your answers as well, whether you post them in the comments or even let me know that you did a tag, and I will go and check you out as well, because I just think it's fun to see what we've all been reading this summer and for the first half of the year. So thank you again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, night, evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Thank you so much for being here. Take care of yourselves, and you will see me next time. Bye!